I now give the floor to the plurinational state of Bolivia.
Mr. President, Secretary General, Excellencies, we are meeting today in this hall, once again, concerned by what is occurring in Ukraine. The drums of war are once again echoing in a continent which has suffered a great deal, a result of geopolitical ambitions. 2 world wars had to occur and more than 70 million lives had to be lost for us to realize that we had a need for a multilateral organization which would seek to preserve international peace and security. At the current time, we are seeing this core principle being completely violated, and we are crossing the point of no return, moving towards the loss of hundreds of innocent lives once more. Mr. President, Bolivia is a constitutionally peace-loving state, and we reject all wars of aggression and any and all threats of aggression as an instrument to solve disputes and conflicts between states. Within this constitutional framework, my country unequivocally rejected and continues to reject all invasions and unilateral actions undertaken by various powers throughout recent history. In so doing, these powers have undermined international law and the very Charter of the United Nations. Examples of such phenomena can be found in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Palestine, and today Ukraine. Moreover, we would be remiss if we did not mention that in the conflict that is today of concern to humankind as a whole, there are responsibilities on the shoulders not only of the country that has decided to unilaterally undertake a military operation, there are also responsibilities on the shoulders of Western powers who through NATO jeopardize the security and peace of other states. They do so by using other states as middlemen to favor the expansionist ambitions of them as Western powers, and as such they threaten the security of their neighbors. NATO is not a guarantee of security. On the contrary, it is a threat to international security. We only have to remember the bombing of Yugoslavia, which occurred without the authorization of the Security Council. The result, after the atrocious crimes in the Balkan region, was a completely disintegrated country. Today, we observe with surprise the moral double standards shown by certain powers. Rather than seeking peace, they fan the flames of confrontation. Invasions and war must always be rejected because all these invasions and war bring is death and destruction for humankind and for the lives of people. Against this backdrop, committed to international law and the United Nations Charter, we welcome the beginning of discussions on the border with Belarus between the delegations of Ukraine and Russia. This is light, a glimmer of hope indeed at the end of the tunnel, and we hope that these discussions will continue constructively and in good faith. We urge parties to exhaust all political and diplomatic mechanisms available, including mediation and negotiation, in order to find a peaceful solution to this conflict. Mr. President, we are aware that the current situation is the result of several factors that have played out over time, and we understand that there are legitimate security concerns on the part of those involved that must be heard and managed as best as possible, and this in order to avoid a more serious crisis in the region. We can't simply guarantee the security of some states to the detriment of the security of others. The international community has to be capable of building collective security. With that in mind, we appeal to all to avoid declarations or actions such as unilateral sanctions which, instead of promoting dialogue, undermine any possibility of a peaceful solution. We believe that all relevant stakeholders must focus their efforts on ensuring an immediate cessation of hostilities, on protecting civilians and civilian infrastructure, and we call for the safe and unfettered access to humanitarian assistance to be allowed when required. Finally, we underscore the efforts undertaken by the Secretary-General to ensure that this situation does not further escalate, and we agree that what's happened so far is not irreversible action. We must not and we cannot throw in the towel in the face of weapons. The respect for life must prevail. The respect for international law and the principles of the United Nations Charter must guide us towards achieving a lasting and sustainable peace in the region. Many thanks, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of plurinational state of Bolivia.